Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I've got a new project in mind. This is actually a Honda motor. It's a GX160. It's a 5.5 horsepower. As you can tell, the pulley is brand new. I picked this off of Marketplace. It was a non-runner. Didn't have the pulley. It was either smashed off or whatnot. I was sitting in some guy's shed for 6, maybe 7 years. I got it for a reasonable price. I did end up getting a pulley for it, which I think was like 15 bucks or something like that. I did get it running and it runs really well. The carb is definitely going to need to be cleaned out. It's got good compression. So this is something that I'm looking forward on taking apart and cleaning up. As you can tell, it's in rough shape. So we'll take it apart. I'm not going to tear this thing completely apart. It does have good compression, so really not looking at doing that. Want to clean it up, make it look good. The game plan is to put an intake on it, custom exhaust. We'll redo the tank, put a new cap on it. And I got some other stuff in store for this motor. So one of the things I most likely am going to do is put an electric start on it. And that will be for our next build. So let's get this taken apart and cleaned up. The parts are on order, so as soon as they get here, we'll put them on. But let's take her apart. Okay guys, as you can see, I got her down, stripped down pretty good. So what we want to do now is clean her up a little and make sure that we've got no leaks. There's a lot of grime and dirt on this thing, but let's get her cleaned up and let's see what she looks like. As you can tell, okay. Tank seems to be in pretty good shape, so that's good. What we'll do is I had some fuel in it to get it started, so I'll empty out the fuel. We don't look like we have any leaks around the shaft, which is good. We've got that here. That's what holds the tank. That's cracked. So we'll see what we can do with that. Maybe we'll weld a little piece around it and reshape it. But she's looking pretty good. So what I'll do is I'll cover up the exhaust. I'm gonna leave the carb on for now. The carb will come off and it definitely needs to be cleaned up. As you can tell, how I got that to run is amazing. But anyway, let's start cleaning her up. Okay guys, as you can see, I've got everything taken apart here. Got the piston, all piston's in good shape, crank's in good shape. We're gonna end up doing a rebuild, put all new seals. The carb, awful. I couldn't even get it off the shafts, so we had to kind of squeeze it out. But we'll order a new carb for it, and we'll get it going. The crank's here. It's in perfect shape. Looking good. What we got there. And we'll walk over here. And I've got everything degreasing. As you can see, a degreasing solution. We'll let that sit for a couple hours. We'll scrub it up, clean it up, and then once the parts come in, we'll reassemble. So with these parts here, I've got you know, the carb adjustment, the governor adjustment, assembly and everything, and lots of the nuts and bolts. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in a tumbler with some media. What I like to use in the tumbler is crushed walnut, and then I'll run it for a couple hours, and that should get rid of most of the rust off of these things. Then clean everything up for us. So guys, that's what the tumbler looks like. Okay, and then you can see I've got the crushed walnut in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna throw those pieces in, nuts and bolts. We'll throw them all in there, including the assemblies, like so. Anything that's got some rust on it, like that. Spring, everything. So that'll work out quite well. Just gonna make sure I got. There we go. Okay, so that's everything in there. Oh, there's one more here. There we go. Okay, so we'll put the lid back on. Kind of hard doing that with one hand, but we'll get it done. Washer. Tighten up that lid. And there we go, and we'll turn it on. So we'll let that run for a few hours, and then we'll come back and take a look at it. So guys, we've got it out of the degreaser. She's still looking pretty rough. So the game plan is, I'm actually gonna put it in the blasting cabinet. What I'm gonna do is, we'll tape up back here just to make sure we don't get any media inside here, and on top of the actual head, just to block it slightly, and we'll give it a good cleaning. Game plan is to try to get a lot of this stuff off of it. Just looks pretty rough. I can sit there and try to do it with a wire wheel, but I'm gonna blast it. It'll clean it up nicely. We'll do all the pieces. Maybe I'll use some of this here to tape things up, and then we'll get ready to put it in the blasting cabinet. Now, in the blasting cabinet, I usually use crushed glass. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna put some glass bead in it. It'll give me a smoother finish or clean finish. And then we'll see how that turns out. Okay guys, so we've got it completely sealed up, as you can see. Okay, so we're gonna get ready to put it in the blasting cabinet. I'm gonna walk over here. So this is the media that I'm using. So it's very, very fine. So it should be pretty good. And that's our cabinet. We already set up the media in there. I replaced the old media with that. So let's see how we do. If you guys are wondering, it is an Eastwood cabinet. I've had it for quite some time. Put it through lots of use. It's a great little cabinet. Works out really well. So let's see how this thing works out. Okay guys, so we've gone ahead and sandblasted everything. Let's take it out of the cabinet. And we'll take a look. Much better. All right, let's move that over here. And we'll blow it off. Let's grab the block. Not bad. Still some areas there that need a little bit of work, but pretty good. This side's got to be cleaned up a little bit more. Okay, so what we'll do that now is we'll hit this side a little more and try to clean up that block. I can probably do it with a wire brush and see if I can get it cleaned out, but let's hit that side a little more and see if I can get it to get cleaned out a little bit better. But I am going to end up painting this. It's looking pretty good. Okay, so let me hit this side a bit more and see if I can get it to clean up a little bit better. So guys, she's looking really good. As you can see, we've got the block and the side plate done. This is what it looked like prior. Okay, now that's what she looks like. Now this is the old head. I did order a new head with some performance valves. So we'll put those in there when we get, once the order comes in. But we're gonna get this finished cleaned up. She's looking pretty good. So what I'm probably gonna do now is I'm gonna clean up my station here, and we're gonna work on this, this piece here. I've got an idea. It's a JB Weld product. I've never really used it before, but it's got some really good reviews. So let's get it out. Let me clean up here, and let's get it out, and we'll take a look at it and see if this this product actually works. Okay, so this is it. This is high heat product. Never used it. I've had it for a while now. It's actually designed for blocks, all kinds of different high heat applications with an extremely strong hold. It has 800 PSI, so I'm not quite sure to see how this application works. So we're going to open this up. We're going to mix it up. I think it's like a putty. We'll mix it together. And then what we're going to try to do is remold this and see if it works. So let me get a block or something that we can mix that onto, and let's see how this works out. Okay guys, so what I did is I took the product out of the container, and you can see it's got a white core and some gray outside, and I cut a chunk off and I mixed it up. Basically like a Play-Doh or a putty of a sort. And then just continually, I guess, emulsified it or squished it together until it was pliable, and then applied it. Well, I applied it on there, and then I tried to smoothen it out as much as I can. I'm hoping that I can mold that with some sandpaper once it's 100% dry. We'll leave that little extra out, and we'll see how it goes. It seems to be pretty strong, looking pretty good. So hopefully that'll work. We'll find out. So let me put this away. So from my understanding, there is a cap. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. So you want to cover the center core with this. So when you close it, it doesn't dry out, I guess. Let me hold that there for a second. Kind of hard doing that with one hand. So what we're gonna do is put that back on the center core, like so. There we go. Throw it back in the container. like that, and then we'll put the lid back on. And we'll put that away for another day. But it's looking pretty good. So I'm not sure how long it's going to take to dry. I'll read the instructions and figure that out. But it seems to be getting pretty hard right now. So I just kind of kept molding it with my fingers, and took a blade, okay, and I just kind of scraped it around to try to, you know, get the inside carved, so where I can't get it with a sand or a sander. So, but let it dry, and we'll come back to it and take a look. So guys, we're moving on to our next step here. So I emptied out this gas tank with the fuel. We're going to wash it out and make sure that there's no fuel left. There's a drop of it left inside. We're going to clean it out and make sure it's perfectly clean. We'll remove the hose and the valve there, and then we'll get this thing ready for some powder coat. So what I'd like to do is refinish it, because it looks like hell. But let's clean it up. So let's wash it out first, and then we'll take it from there. So guys, I cleaned out this tank. It looks perfect, which is awesome. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this outlet. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it is a 12 mil socket will fit on that. And hopefully we can get that off without breaking it. So let's get a 12 mil and we'll try that. Oh, there it goes. And we'll clean that up. Perfect. Put that here. So it was a 12 mil. So now we'll just clean out the backside of this tank, and we'll move on to the next step. So what I'm going to do next, guys, is I'm going to take my compressor and my air nozzle, and I'm going to blow some air through this and see if I can get all the gas out of it before we continue doing anything. But she's looking pretty good. So let me grab that compressor and we'll blow the air through it. So guys, we've got it all blown out and cleaned out. She's looking good. Got the stickers removed. I've got some heavy duty paint strip, so we're gonna put some of that on there and see if we can get rid of this white paint, and we'll get most of the paint off. Then what we'll do is we'll put in the sandblasting cabinet. But let's get that on there, and let's go from there. So I'll do the top side first, and then we'll do the bottom side. We'll let this sit on there and see how this stripper actually works on this. I might have to do more than one coat, but we'll get a generous coat on here and let it sit. It's kind of hard doing that with one hand, but we're doing it. Okay, so we'll let that sit for a while, and then we'll come back and take a look. So guys, while the paint stripper is sitting on the tank, we're gonna come back to the block here. So that molding putty there that I put on hardened pretty good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start molding this a little bit with a sander, just to try to give it a nicer finish. And then we'll re-clean this again after sandblasting, so I want to degrease it and clean it up a little bit more, but she'll be ready for some paint. So that's looking good. So let me get a sander out and let's try to mold this and see how she comes out. So guys, I got it all cleaned up, ready to go. You can see I molded the piece. Yeah, it turned out pretty good. It's looking really good. It's nice and smooth. It's got the same, somewhat of the same contour as the other one, which is good. So happy with that. That's going to work out quite nicely. So as the paint stripper is sitting on the gas tank, I got all this stuff set. We're just waiting now for our new head that I ordered. So once that comes in, then we'll finish taking out the stems and we'll put them in and we'll seat the valves in the new head and reassemble. So we're getting there. She's looking pretty good. So this is actually turned out a lot better than I expected. Hopefully it'll last, but so far so good. Okay guys, so next step, what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually remove the governor. We don't need the governor, we don't want it, so we're gonna remove it. The bar is already removed, the control arm that controls the governor has been removed. I also removed the low oil sensor because what we're gonna use this application or this motor for, we don't want that in there, okay? I'll show you how to plug up those holes properly. But what we want to do is remove this. You know, there's a plastic sleeve that's on there, and we already removed that. And now there's a little ring. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little ring on the bottom. So what we're going to use is a pick and try to pick that out. Some guys smack out the shaft from the back side of the motor. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave the shaft where it is. I'm going to try to take this apart and get it out. So let me get a pick and let me play with it and see if I can get it to come up. Okay guys, that was pretty simple. Okay, we removed it, removed the clip. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, and we left the shaft. Now there's a small washer in there we got to get rid of. And I'll get a magnet and pull that washer out. And then I'll show you how I'm going to plug up these holes. Okay, so let me get a magnet and we'll remove that and then we'll go from there. Okay, so this is the governor right here. So we got to find a bolt that fits into this. Now, some guys are putting a bolt through the back side and up through the top. I'm not a fan of that. Motor vibrates quite a bit, and if it loosens up and falls into the motor, you can kiss the motor goodbye. So let's find a bolt that fits that, and then I'll show you. We'll tap it, and then we'll put that in there, and it should work out perfect. Okay guys, so you see I've got it threaded. I also have that one threaded. So what I've done here is the bolt that I'm using, I put a washer and a lock washer, and I cut it to size so it doesn't protrude, so it doesn't actually protrude into the block. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna put some Loctite, and we're gonna put a little bit of gasket sealer, gasket maker around here, and then snug them in. So let's do that and let's see how it goes. Okay guys, so you see that I've got the bolts in, removed the governor, removed the governor arm, and we removed the actual governor on the inside. Okay, we left the stem. We also removed the low oil sensor and blocked that off there. There's some gasket maker underneath, also with the little one. So we're gonna let that dry, and that don't over torque these guys, because I didn't enlarge the hole. All I did is put some thread through it. So if a reason for me to put that back together, I could if I wanted to. Don't foresee me doing that, but just in case, if I ever had to, I could. Thing with threading, you got to make sure when you're doing the threads that the motor is completely apart, because you'll see little debris inside there, okay, from the actual thread. So you don't want to make sure, you want to make sure that it's actually completely apart, so you can actually clean it. I'm going to let the thread lock tighten or cure, and the gasket maker cure, and then we'll clean that up a little bit once it's cured. We're still waiting for the head, and some other parts are coming in. That should be within the next couple of days. Don't want these videos to get too long, so I'm gonna call this video. We'll end it here for now. The next video will be us assembling everything, seating the valves into the new head, the whole 9 yards, putting new seals, new gaskets, new crank seals, cleaning everything up, and some fun other stuff. So we're working on it. We're almost there. Guys, I really appreciate you guys watching. Hope you enjoyed the video so far. Hope you learned something. And thanks for watching. I appreciate it.